3. Voilà, bonsoir à tous et à toutes. Nous sommes ce samedi 17 août 2024. Comme vous pouvez le constater, Justice en Guinée, conférence de presse avec l'avocat Norman Sigel et la communauté épris de paix et de justice, le président de la commission centrale, M. Lamine Diallo, Mme Diallo, membre de Justice en Guinée, Hadia Satou, Suleiman Diallo. Voilà, la conférence va commencer tout à l'heure et nous allons donner l'occasion à M. Diallo, président de la commission centrale, d'ouvrir le bal avant l'avocat Norman Sigel.
Okay. So, assalamu alaikum. I will talk in English first. Yes. So for the benefit of everybody speaking. As you know, 14 years ago, on September 28, 2009, 15 years ago actually, you know, the civil society in Guinea and the political parties called a meeting to protest the president of the junta, that is Camara, desire and willingness to keep power. You know, even though he promised not to be a candidate to organize free and fair elections. So that day, the meeting was organized at the stadium of the same name, and that day, the army, the militia, all kinds of people went into the stadium shooting at blank range. Everybody was in the stadium. And they closed all the doors, electrified the doors, and shot and raped, shot at people and raped every woman that would lay their hand on. And you know, that day, we were Potafi, Bantalo, Putajaron, and our community here in New York and across the US were in front of the United Nations and the Embassy of Guinea protesting. That's where we learned that they're killing people on the stadium and they're raping women. Since that day, you know, our organization engaged into a fight to see that justice is done. And I should particularly thank Mr. Norman Sigel here, who was with us all these years. And we got to know Mr. Norman Sigel through the foundation, Amadou Diallo Foundation. We also thank that foundation for letting us get to know him and for him to help us all these years because he was shocked by what happened. And we thank this organization, our organization Potafi Bantal Futajalom, here in the US and across the world, especially Europe, and where they organize all kinds of marches in front of the ICC and in front of the European Union. And here in America, we went to the State Department, we went everywhere to ask for justice to be done. It took really 15 years, 13 years for this to happen. And because it didn't happen because the government that came after the elections did everything they could to prevent that day from happening. And we don't know why, and we're still asking for investigation to be done. So that's why we are here today, to thank Allah Almighty for this to happen. Only God was willing to help us here, because if there was no military coup in Guinea, we wouldn't have this trial. But Allah took away Alpha Condé from power. Even though we're not happy with military power, but he opened up the door to have this trial. Also, we have to thank Mr. Imran Khan of the ICC, because as soon as he took over from Fatou Bensouda, he came to Guinea and gave the government of Guinea 3 months to hold the trial. And today we have the trial. It took 2 years. It's Guinea. We have to look at this as a glass half full. But we have to remember this. There is no way there's going to be free and fair election in Guinea if we don't put an end to impunity. That's enough. That's what we should remember. So we have to keep on fighting for justice, for impunity to cess in Guinea. Some of you who are young here don't know what happened in Guinea since 1958. But since 1958, we lost at 50,000 people from government killing, arresting killing. But Guinea is a tragedy. And that's why that country is a mess. So thank you again, everybody. And I'm going to switch to French, and I'm going to switch to Fulani. Alors, donc comme je disais tout à l'heure en anglais, le 28 septembre 2009, les partis politiques de la Guinée et les membres et la société civile ont organisé un meeting pour protester contre la volonté d'Addis Camara de se présenter. Vous savez qu'après la mort de Lansana Conté, il y a une junte militaire dirigée par Addis Camara qui a pris le pouvoir. Il avait promis d'organiser des élections libres et transparentes, mais après il a commencé à changer. Alors, pour protester contre ça, il y a eu cette manifestation au stade. Et qu'est-ce que l'armée guinéenne a fait? C'est venir entourer le stade, électrifier toutes les portes, rentrer et tirer à balles réelles sur les populations qui étaient dans ce stade et violer toutes les femmes sur lesquelles ils ont pu mettre. Donc une tragédie qui ne dit pas son nom. Et je dirais ceci aussi, et ça doit être clair et dit. Plus de 90% des victimes sont des peuples. Il faut qu'on le dise. Il ne faut pas qu'on soit timide sur ça. Même les rapports de Human Rights Watch ont spécifiquement écrit dedans. Vous pouvez lire ça. Que les gens qu'on disait ce jour-là, ce sont des peuples. Et que les autres qu'on a tués là-bas, c'est parce qu'ils ressemblent à des peuples. Ça a été clairement dit dans le rapport. Des gens qui sont venus, qui sont neutres, qui ne savaient pas qu'il y avait des peuples ou des Marocains aussi en Guinée, ils ont dit, c'est ce qu'ils ont écrit. Donc, alors, grâce à ça, dans ces pays, les Nations Unies, et vraiment tout le monde a assisté pour que ces crimes soient déclarés comme crimes contre l'humanité. Donc, il y a eu des poursuites, il y a eu des enquêtes, et un pool de juges a été créé, des juges d'instruction, et ils ont inculpé les personnes que nous avons vues au tribunal ici. Nous aurions souhaité qu'il y ait beaucoup plus de personnes inculpées, mais les juges ne peuvent juger que les gens qui sont inculpés. C'est le dossier qui est devant nous. Donc, nous, à Porta Fibantal Futajalon, on a mené une campagne ici en Amérique et en Europe, partout où on pouvait manifester librement, pour demander que justice soit rendue et que ces gens-là soient arrêtés et jugés. Mais malheureusement pour nous, le gouvernement civil qui a suivi ces massacres, etc., le gouvernement d'Alpha Condé a tout fait pour empêcher que ce jugement ait lieu. Donc, finalement, c'est le bon Dieu qui nous a assistés. Parce qu'il y a eu un coup d'État, Alpha Condé a sauté, et donc ça a ouvert le champ pour qu'il y ait ce jugement. Et nous sommes là aujourd'hui pour célébrer ce verdict-là, pour célébrer ça. Et nous considérons ça comme le verre à moitié plein, parce que la Guinée est un terrain difficile. Donc nous ne s'attendons pas à ce que les choses soient parfaites, mais Dieu merci, c'est pour la première fois en Guinée, et on juge un chef d'État et des membres très haut placés du gouvernement. Et je vais profiter de ça pour remercier M. Norman Sigol ici. Nous avons connu M. Norman Sigol à travers la Fondation Amadou Diallo. Et c'est eux qui nous ont parlé du problème, il est venu nous assister. Et nous le remercions parce qu'il était avec nous pendant 12 ans on marchait ici et il est toujours venu à nous marcher. La seule fois où on n'a pas marché, c'est quand il y a eu la période de Covid, parce qu'il était interdit de marcher. Donc nous le remercions particulièrement pour tout ce qu'il a fait pour nous. Il doit quitter ici à 5h30 parce qu'il y a ses petits-enfants qui font leur graduation. Et donc nous allons, quand il sera prêt à partir, nous allons l'excuser, il va partir. Mais nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui pour célébrer cette date. Et pour vous dire que ce combat continue. L'impunité continue en Guinée. Et ça ne va pas cesser. Tant que tout nous montre ne fera pas de la lutte contre l'impunité la priorité. Ce n'est qu'après ça qu'on pourra parler d'élections libres et transparentes et tout ce que tous les gens qui veulent le pouvoir, que ce soit dans les partis politiques, ceci, cela, il faut qu'on mette fin à l'impunité. Dans notre combat ici à Africa, on ne peut pas développer la Guinée quand on continue à tuer les Guinéens. Ouais. Donc c'est ça le truc. Donc nous sommes là aujourd'hui, nous avons fait 2 déclarations que nous avons publiées. Une déclaration en français et une autre en anglais. Donc nous allons lire les deux déclarations. On va donner la parole à M. Norman Sigol d'abord. Et après, on va lire les déclarations. Et après, on va se déclarer.
Madame, tu pourras
Et puis, on va passer la parole.
On va faire la traduction en français. Madame, le discours de Norman, c'est important.
Le Norman, Norman.
Voilà. Avance.
Please go to your Facebook.
Voilà, on va écouter Norman Sigel, notre avocat depuis 13 ans, qui nous a accompagnés. Je rappelle, après 13 ans de combat, le procès a eu lieu à Conakry. Il y a eu des condamnations. Il y a eu des prévenus qui ont été relâchés. Voilà. Donc, on va écouter Norman Sigel.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
It's always a pleasure to be here, to see so many friendly faces. For 15 years, we struggled, we fought, non-violently, of course. And when I was a young law student, and I went to Mississippi in 1966 to be part of the Southern Civil Rights Movement in America. We had, whether it was Dr. King or other people, the song, the mantra we had is "We shall overcome." And today, on August 17th, in the year 2024, I'm here today to tell you all that you, in fact, did. You overcame. Another part of American history. Schools, no longer black schools, white schools. The mantra became justice delayed is justice denied. But you all changed it now. Because justice delayed with stamina, refusing to give up. So now, justice delayed,
justice denied.
no, but with stamina, justice delivered.
Yeah.
Now, I know we didn't get the full glass of justice. We got a half. I'll talk about that in a minute. But when I think of so many of you in this room and others who year after year came to East 38th Street, across the street from the Guinean consulate. In fact, one year in the rain. Remember that?
Yes.
And yet you stayed strong. For everyone who came there, justice has been delivered. For everyone who marched from East 38th Street to the Ralph Bunche Park near the UN, hundreds of people, you saw, here it is, on the march. Justice was delivered for them. The people who were in the park, who participated in the rally, and the people who spoke so eloquently, so passionate, justice was delivered for them. For the people who went to the United Nations and met with people over and over again. And I remember we were very cynical because we didn't think they cared. We didn't think they had the heart. We didn't think they were going to do anything. But some of them did. For them, too, justice was delivered. Now, why is this important? It's important for at least 3 reasons that I can think of now. First, it's important that you're all here today to learn how in a democracy we celebrate wins. Especially when you're fighting for people's rights, we always don't win. But when we continue to fight, and we do win, we've got to come together and thank everybody and include everybody. And in the full community, we have to let people know that sometimes justice delayed is justice delivered. Second, forgetting. You know the history way better than me. I'm a gringo. I'm learning more and more. But it's important for the history and the future of Guinea that there's accountability. There were many people during this 15-year journey for justice. People said we wouldn't achieve anything. I remember those marches. I remember rallies. There were even people within our community who were saying, it won't happen. Don't give up. I've learned it's good to be smart, but more important is to have stamina, to outlast your opponents. It's important in Guinea for the people in Guinea to know that you won, that they won. It's important for the people in the Bronx, from the Fulani community, to know. It's important, and again, even though we didn't get the full glass of justice yet, the struggle has to continue.
Yes.
There needs to be reparations. There needs to be damages for all the people who went through the trauma, the hundreds of victims. The government needs to provide care and health, mental health assistance so people can deal with what happened then, and for people who say, oh, that was 15 years ago. People are living with that trauma today. We can't ignore that thing. It's what I call the ripple effect. Avenue in the Bronx, not just in the Bronx, not just in New York City, not just in the United States, but internationally. We are part of a community that consistently has to fight for human rights, for the dignity of people, people of color, for women, for people who don't have the power to fight the people who are in powerful positions. And when this story is told over and over again, people's energy is increased. Their hope, their belief that we shall overcome someday. But for us, it's today. It was July 31. So the ripple effect not only helps us in fighting more fights, and we do. For example, we need for those families in Guinea to know where their loved ones are buried. That is crucial. We need to know what happened to the people who were killed. They just didn't disappear. They're somewhere. So although there are people, a dozen or so, who have been and will be in jail for years, that's just one piece of the journey for justice. So we have to continue We celebrate today, but we still have to continue the struggle. And on a personal level, when I became a lawyer 54 years ago, I know I look young, but I ain't.
You look great.
I know. But what keeps me going is you all. The fact that people are prepared to fight for others, that people get outraged over what happened on September 28th, 2009. Don't just close their eyes. Don't just close their ears. Don't shut them out. We need to speak up. We need to write. We need to march. We need everyone together so that we can overcome. And it's been a personal honor and privilege to get to know my friend here, to get my friend over there, and so many of you right here, and all of you. I love you all.
Thank you.
I'll always be there for you. God bless you all.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? We want justice. 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 What you want? Justice. What you want? Justice. What you want? Justice. When? 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 Thank you, Norman.
One other thing. About a month and a half ago, I have 5 grandkids. 2 of them graduated in June. And we set up, my wife and I, who live in Manhattan, a party for them. The party starts at 6 o'clock tonight back in my apartment. So I appreciate that you let me speak sooner. I will not walk out once I speak like the politicians do. I don't like that. I will stay a little, but I will have to leave before the end of the program because I have to be back at home to co-host the evening. Thank you all.
Thank you, Norman. Thank you so much. Voilà, Norman Siegel, frère qui nous a accompagnés pour ce combat. Et aujourd'hui, on est au bout du tunnel. Voilà, merci Norman.
Il faut traduire.
No, è tradizionale, on va dire tradizione. Mi pare tu io tu de kula se. Tati oni amma singo to. Ko bate ngala ni ko wadi ko pare walli. Bata ni kan falla. Bate ande o mayor de Washington andi to Eric Adams. Ayo sai ko New York pito. Ade New Washington. New York. Ayo sai ko senator. Eta ande ko kanko ni mayor. Non immediately in the one to join. In the Nyawa regional pour penal international. But mayor thinkis they are team. Kanka join no one to join. Kanko ni atu ko the mayor pale jo ko de. Because mayor side do yo ari mayor pale wala. And no for immediately one in the one to join. E fera ni lawa no jockey. When I want to carry for lawa. Non è di burano. Se gioco no lao non le feri do. Andi è totale. Andi io vare nelle ginne. O quando non mi chiede già quando io lavo. Va. Se vedi si fa quello che volete no. Perché arico anda in una cosa justice pour supreme l'état de l'eau. Non è da negoziare. Va. Se tori che alla io alla wando. Wata ni en sabu ko wanda pues te dindo no at punto di legal mandi en bat que normal ko fondation man ja no ma le ngando le at le ni no be dali le fo be ni no na ma tu da lo fer la le fo de ni e dali de che ri a mandi donc to gallo le bo en fantis con anni tengas gide no tanke saria joda tanke war wacha ni le dia ta yes nenen what em lo anda period sekure maka samene menen heɓuɓe ɓen duuɓi campende jeeɗiɗi ko fayi min ko duuɓi campende jeeɗiɗi ɗi jogi meɗen andi ko feƴƴi Guinée comme fewde secteur par ce que min ko Conakry ɗon kam ɗon min jaggi famɓe si ɓe nanguinoma wawi wasi a maayi goɗɗo landa suusata ɓe landitade fiiɓa ɓe ara ɓe yaltina famille ma on ɓeygore ma nden ko suudu mum ɓe bugoɓe yaasi ɓe tawi no woodi suusuɗo reservude ɓeygore ma nden o reserva ɓeygore ma nden wonde kadi hay o reservuɗo ɓeygore ma nden ɓe yana on ɗon kadi ɓe nanga on ɗon kadi on ɗon kadi ɓe bugo ha ko ɗum debbi ndi leydi fii ko banno adama si banno adama no kelɗi e leydi keldi no keldi si banno adama no jaasi e leydi leydi ndi jaasa donc ɓe wari yimɓe kelduɗen fof ɓe pooɗi jaasuɓe ɓe sikkuno ɓen ɗon waɗay ko ɓe faala o ɓe ɓayni ɗen ɗon ɗo ñande waali o maayi ko ɓen ɗon ƴetti laamu kono naɓe hari ɓe wawata ɗande ƴettugol laamu e gérugol laamu na gootu an e ƴettugol laamu e laamatol na gootu donc ɓe ƴetti kono ɓe wawata no ɓe andano leydi laamirte donc hiɗen hutti e kangay kam on ɗon kañ kadi ɓanditi ɓe o sikkuno o wawayto ɓe sikkuno ɗo manta ɓaate o maayi ko tadi sen ƴetti laamu o yi alpha konde ɗo kadi o addi ɗum boy mo sikkude on ɗon waɗay ko faala on na on ɗon ittimo on noon ko Allah ittimo Allah addi ko ittamo par ce que mo sikkude hari ko ayɓe ko sikkuno ɗon mo joƴƴini poste militaire je quartier ji ɗin fof quartier ji ko sikkimo mari ayɓe ɗon koko nder suuɗu makko kadi on yiɗi ka si Allah yimmanike makko yimnuɗa suuɗo ɗo fof mara ko yaha bonki maki ko ɗum o itte makko hakkedi yimɓe ɓen ko kanko salide ñawore waɗa o ala ko waɗani o andi o inni hay palais de justice ko ɓe darnande palais de justice ɓe mara ko ɓe ñawa ɓe yimɓe fof oy yimɓe sappo e ɓe mara ko ɓe ñawa ɓe gara ɓen palais de justice darne kono ɗum ɗon kadi darna américain ɓe ɗen itti 1,500,000 dollars 500,000 joni juste ɓe e union européen itti 450,000 euros jonni ɓe addi portoje ko leydi o wallito docteur somajo Allah yummomo yaafo o yimmi o dañi andi en addimo ɗo ɓe wakkili ha nde ñawore hande Allah walli en hoore laawol ko ñawol nde yawa eɗen welti en welti koyen ɓurtu wakkilade kadi ha sari a jooɗo e ndi leydi sina nokku en fof kita koye leydi janandiri jooɗotoɗen ha maaya ñande noon en haalay ɗo seeɗa ɓiɓɓe ɓe heɓeten ɗo ɓen e tanira e tindira ɓen ɗo neɗɗotara e jiti on to iwreyade noon o andi sen wakkinaki wakkiloɗen ara nder daare Guinée ko leydi yimɓe wakkiliɓe leydi ɗi fof par ce que min ɓen haki ko fonctionnaire ko sigiri mi waɗi école primaire miɗo andi gonde ɗe haltere ko bonnere koɓe waɗi sigiri ko 1965 ɓe fusi boutique ɗiɗi fof e leydi faami miɗo andi ko waɗi Conakry ko ɓaati ɓen andi yetti retraite ko Conakry min andi miɗo andi kadi période colonial seeɗa ɓatere ɓen an ko landu kan miɗo andi portoɓe ko yittino ɗi laayi ɗiyo toon Guinée fof ko portoɓe moƴƴi ɗi ko ɓen orani ɗen sikku ɗen sen heɓi indépendance e yaade so ɗo peppata indépendance fiyo kam fiyo letto fiyo waɗa fiyo tooñ ko ɗum waɗi an anduɓe période colonial o silta on période kon ɗi période ji indépendance ɓete portoɓen siɓe nanguino maɓe ñawete ka jooɗi teɗɗa noon si nanguima on tewni toon joni ɓaɗo ñaari pour te wakkilade yo Allah wandu joni ko kalko ko en jangga e déclaration ji waɗaɗi ɗi waɗa e français e janggendi ɗo ɗe ɗowodiren en Allah walli en jernaten no ɗo ɗowodiren e ɗoɗo ɗen Allah yo ɗo ɓurten wallude
Dr. Lami, wawi anditinde seeɗa golle ko fotta waɗi e nder ko ɗuma ha hewtude ka ñawre ɗo par ce que jiye men anda
jangga e déclaration ji ɗi if you need to go.
No, you have to sign
So Mr. Governor, I just want to introduce you some of the people. I know you know our faces, but we have some elders and we have one journalist here who's also here to cover our event. The gentleman in white, that's one of our elders here, right? Ustaz Babagan. He's one of our elders. And then we have our Elhaj here. He's also one of our elders in this community. They all came to thank you for all the support. We have Elhaj Ismail, who's next to. He doesn't see anymore because he's that old. But he always, he's that young. He's a senior. But he always comes to our event. We have another young lady like that. She doesn't see clearly neither. She cannot walk much either, but she always comes. She used to participate to all these protests. So truly, we appreciate everything you have done for the community for the past 10, 15 years. And we pray God to keep you much longer and keep helping people like our community. We truly appreciate. So Mr. Akumba is a journalist in our country. He just came when we already had started. I know me and for 14 million minatako roundable kono Portugal yewtugol joni dira hakki yen ko fetti ko ngender iddu do ko jogondiri ko e toñi wanno den ka meden nyande September 28 2009 bi dum do futti ha ko do gafto ligoni sina duubi di covid di wadi e ronkali e marsu goddo si al commémorer ko an wodi wobbe ben no nyaawama ko dum avocat no hubbitama fi dum o ko kanko addi e bore wonde maye fotturo ano woni joni e mari haaji jango wobbe go no woni waabe ka etaaji hande fottude yen hawtdir fop wala fo hande wala hayre wotere jolli didi mun wasi fottude do hande ara joni mi anda si ko kay kadi watte ma ko so ko mo do do palte be yoto ko e janga déclaration ji en janga déclaration ji do yo jango di na di fala e lando to tomate do na Bashir Ba oh fami kala écriture déclaration di men o kanko wi si men jodi ke tum men en wadi réunion commission centrale o men nya jodi ko dum o mura ta ko do men da Bashir ko ba a men jodi ma o winda Koto Bashir and Turki Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inu mo ya ko kamar ande ko e sare gonga kono combat man ko di golete wado de wala ni lajide wala ni leñongol surtout wala ni ngore makko mi wi non ko hunde ne jetta fanni de wuro yeru duubi hewudi potan ci bandal mo taway ci tubbe potan ci bandal hande mi andi tal karendi o wadi réunion ko tan tibantal hara ko Bashir kala woni no ko Washington woni ko Philadelphia woni ko Europe woni ko Afrique kala ko wadi hara ko Bashir man ko e min baadu ko sawa ko tan tibantal ni humpiti ka woni derto ko mido wali yewta go golo ko min ha hande mbuudi jetta kay na no do passement de yow ko yaata ko ko kakko de Bashir wala ba donc yangi ko tawta ko onti wakilani hoore mu wakilani ñom koy wata e jidude aduna e tori ka Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah hukum wal janna Allah wa barke juriyaji makko di wa barke kala ka taw akki e baaw makko ga hande hiden andi tude mo do jango ko honno ho wandi tay ko dum be yewta no sukabe go ka porta fi bandalo e me wata tam assemblée générale en janti in mama me sikko futare mini hande mi personnellement mi anda ko ko inde ma mi ande golle ka be wadi ko emi en mona ha ko fi amami on no alfa ibrahima sambe ma amami bakar biro madu wonbe hakkude ben don dido talat enen do fa fay goto be mandi ben do am kono hande ha joni de yewtude fi golleji mabbe din ka be waran no en ko sinta golle leydi benen enen sen fetti ta ko wal tay ko honno anditi tan ko golle honde anditi tan fi mu aray mi tori en yo Allah wallu en tawata jango de tawata e wawana hoore men ko moƴƴi haalante hoore men hande mo kala meɗen no andi ko hombo woni prix Nobel de la paix ko hombo woni ɓe ganduɗa ko hombo wonno Albert Nobel ɓe anda ɓen ko on ɗon woni ko embalti dynamite ko fettata ko wara yimɓe guluji nde wotere koɓe mattuɗo ɗum koccira makko maayi journaliste ɓe ronki andugol ko hombo e maɓɓe ɗum ɓeyni wondema le marchand de la mort est décédé o ndaari o tawi e nden ñande mi maayi ko ɗum ñanditirte on ni mi faala kanditirede jawdi kala ka o heɓuno fii yeeygol dynamique o ƴetti ɗin ɗon o inni o waɗi e fondation yo ɗum ɗon wonu fii pour la paix o inni kala yangiɗo fii paix on o jonnete prix nobel wona kawdi ɗumani hande ko ɗum ɗon mo anditira prix nobel de la paix hombo andi wondema hay enen ka salma ko jerre meɗen andiron ko wondema konɗo crédit dynamique kam yaalɗo nen a onon ɗum nen o faami nen donc ko ɗum ɗon woni koye waɗɗoñila anden ko mo kala meɗen moƴƴina taarika muɗum o anda janggo so tawi ñiwi ko holɗum wonde anditirede o yaafoto somi jonnama haala faydan duɗɗinayi mi wattitama kon ɗo e sorkeje wonima
sorkeji hajji hay settoy ɓe janganayi on déclaration e anglais
Assalamu alaikum.
Creo que es en francés.
¿Cómo es palabra en francés? Janganayto déclaration en anglais. Washington, D.C., August 9, 2024. The verdict of the September 28, 2009 crimes trial. Potafi Batal Futajala noted with satisfaction the verdict and conviction of the defendants of the crime of September 28, 2009. For the first time in Guinea, a head of state and senior members of his government have been tried and convicted for crimes they committed during their rule. It should be recalled that on September 28, 2009, Guinean political parties and civil society organized a demonstration at the stadium of at the start du 28 September to protest the declared desire of Dadis Camara, president of the military junta, known as the CNDD, then in power, to stand as a candidate in the presidential election. In response to this call, tens of thousands of citizens went to the stadium. To repress this demonstration, the security forces and their auxiliaries invaded the stadium, closed all entrances, fired live ammunition, and at close range at the population, and carried out abuses against women. The UN-led investigation counted 157 deaths and 109 women raped. Under the pressure from the international community and Guinean civil society organizations, both inside and outside of the country, a trial was initiated on 28 September 2022 in Conakry, which concluded with a verdict pronounced on the 31st July 2024. Potafi Bantal takes this opportunity to pay tribute to the following organizations and individuals. The International Criminal Court, for having allowed these crimes to be qualified as crime against humanity and for having maintained pressure the Guinean state for all these years. We are particularly grateful to the new ICC prosecutor Imran Khan for making these crimes one of his main concerns. The United Nations for investigating these crimes and referring them to the ICC, and in particular the former United Nations Special Representative on Sexual Violence in Conflict, Margot Wallström, who diligently worked with the Justice in Guinea campaign and traveled to Guinea twice to put pressure on the Guinean government. The U.S. government, through the State Department, for its support, both logistical and financial, and for the pressure it has exerted to ensure that these crimes do not go unpunished. The European Union, for its logistical, and financial support, and the pressure exerted on the Guinean state to hold the trial. The Guinean Organization of Human Rights, OGDH, and its former president, the late Dr. Cherno Majuso, for having campaigned tirelessly for justice to be done and for the perpetrators of these crimes to be tried. Mention should also be made of the central role played by the OGDH in the identification of and assistance of victims. International human rights organizations such as Human Rights Watch, International Crisis Group, and Amnesty International for conducting field investigations to identify the perpetrators and instigators of these crimes. Lawyer Norman Siegel, who offered his services free of charge to Potarfi Bandar Futajalan in the campaign to ensure that these crimes do not go unpunished. The Amadou Diallo Foundation, through which we received the assistance of lawyer Norman Siegel, Mayor Eric Adams, and Mayor David Dinkins. The pool of investigating judges, which conducted the investigation that led to the indictment of the main perpetrator of these massacres. The members of Potarfi Bandar Futajalan around the world who have spared no effort for more than 12 years to ensure that these crimes are not forgotten and that the perpetrators are brought to justice. The International Red Cross, for its intervention of the day of the massacre and the following days, rescuing the wounded and transporting them to treatment center. We are satisfied that 8 masterminds of the crimes out of 11 defendants were found guilty of crime against humanity. Musa Dadis Camara received a 20-year sentence. Claude Peavy, a prison escapee, to life imprisonment, and others. Musa Cheboro Camara, Tumba Jakite, Marcel Gilavugi, Blaise Gomu, Paul Mansa Gilavugi, and Mamadou Ali Keita to sentences going from 10 years to 20 years in prison. While we are satisfied that the above people have been held accountable, Potarfi Bandar Futajalan makes the following recommendations. 1. The continuation of investigations to identify and bring to justice all members of the security forces and their auxiliaries who perpetrated these massacres and rapes at the September 28 stadium. 2. Those investigations be carried out to situate the responsibilities of the government of Alpha Condé in the delay of justice and the maintenance of indicted persons within his government. 3. That investigations be carried out to understand why the Minister of Defense and the General Staff of the Guinean Army did not intervene to put an end to the abuses against the civilian population. 4. That a commission be set up to search for mass graves, identify the remains by DNA, and hand them over to families. Regrettably, if the coup d'etat of September 5, 2001 had not taken place, this trial would have been further delayed, even though Guinea was governed by a civilian regime with a National Assembly that included a respectable number of members of opposition political parties. The president of this civilian regime, Alpha Condé, has erected all kinds of obstacles to prevent the trial from taking place. For their part, the opposition political parties have not lifted a finger to pressure the government to stop obstructing the judicial process. The independence in 1958. It is appropriate to conclude this statement by quoting Dr. Cherno Majuso, former president of the OGDH, who liked to say that the Guinean is not a citizen or a subject of the country, but he is an object of the state that the state can use as he sees fit. The Central Commission of Potarfi Bantal Futajalo.
Voilà. Section Washington, Agiasatou, qui a lu le mémorandum en anglais. Voilà, c'est ça. Quoi qu'elle a dit? Voilà. Donc, voilà, Agiasatou, Potarfi Bantal Washington, qui a lu le mémorandum en français, en anglais, pardon. Nous allons partir maintenant en français avec Malade Diallo. Voilà. Nous saluons la présence des sages, Abdoulaye Diallo et Baba Gane. Nous vous disons merci de votre présence. Voilà, nous allons écouter maintenant Malade Diallo, le mémorandum en français.
Malade Diallo, premier responsable justice in Guinea, section Potano,
Merci. Donc, je vais lire la déclaration qui est là, faite en français. Potarfi Bantal Futajalo a noté avec satisfaction le verdict et la condamnation des accusés des crimes du 28 septembre 2009. En effet, pour une première fois en Guinée, un chef d'État et des membres haut placés de son gouvernement ont été jugés et condamnés pour des crimes qu'ils ont commis pendant leur gouvernance. Rappelons que le 28 septembre 2009, les partis politiques et la société civile guinéenne ont organisé une manifestation au stade du 28 septembre pour protester contre la volonté affichée de Dadis Camara, président de la junte militaire dénommée CNDD, de se porter candidat aux élections présidentielles. Répondant à cet appel, des dizaines de milliers de citoyens se sont rendus au stade. Pour réprimer cette manifestation, les forces de sécurité et leurs auxiliaires ont investi le stade, fermé toutes les entrées, tiré à bout portant sur les populations et violé plus d'une centaine de femmes. Ce procès n'aurait pas eu lieu sans la pression de la communauté internationale, de quelques organisations de la société civile guinéenne à l'intérieur comme à l'extérieur de la Guinée. Potarfi Bantal saisit l'occasion pour rendre hommage aux organisations et personnes ci-dessous. La Cour pénale internationale pour avoir qualifié ces crimes de crimes contre l'humanité et pour avoir maintenu la pression sur l'État guinéen pendant toutes ces années. Nous remercions particulièrement le procureur de la CPI, Imran Khan, Karim Khan, pour avoir fait de ces crimes une de ses principales préoccupations. Les Nations Unies pour avoir mené des enquêtes sur ces crimes et les référer à la CPI. Le gouvernement américain, à travers le département d'État, pour son support aussi bien logistique que financier, et la pression qu'il a menée pour que ces crimes ne restent pas impunis. L'Union européenne pour son support logistique et financier et la pression exercée sur l'État guinéen pour que ces crimes ne restent pas impunis. L'Organisation guinéenne des droits de l'homme, OGDH, et son président, Dr So Maju, pour avoir milité de façon infatigable pour que justice soit rendue et que les auteurs de ces crimes soient traduits en justice. Citons aussi le rôle principal joué à l'OGDH dans l'identification et l'assistance des victimes. Les organisations internationales des droits de l'homme telles que Human Rights Watch, International Crisis Group, Amnesty International, pour avoir mené des enquêtes sur le terrain pour identifier les auteurs et commanditaires de ces crimes. L'avocat Norman Siegel, qui a offert ses services gratuitement à Potarfi Bantal Futajalo dans la campagne menée pour que ces crimes ne restent pas impunis. À la Fondation Amadou Diallo, par le truchement de laquelle nous avons reçu l'assistance de l'avocat Norman Siegel, du maire Eric Adams et du maire David Dinkins, au pool de juges d'instruction qui a fermé les enquêtes, qui a mené des enquêtes ayant conduit à l'inculpation des principaux commanditaires de ces massacres, aux membres de Potalfi Bantal Fouta Djallon à travers le monde qui n'ont ménagé aucun effort pendant plus de 12 ans pour s'assurer que ces crimes ne soient pas oubliés et que les auteurs soient traduits en justice. À la Croix-Rouge internationale pour son intervention le jour du massacre et les jours suivants pour secourir les blessés et les transporter dans les centres de traitement, bien que satisfait que les commanditaires de ces crimes aient répondu de leurs actes, Potalfi Bantal fait les recommandations suivantes. La poursuite des enquêtes pour identifier et traduire en justice les membres des forces de sécurité et leurs auxiliaires qui ont perpétré ces massacres et viols au stade, et que des enquêtes soient menées pour situer les responsabilités des gouvernements d'Alpha Condé dans le délai de justice, et le maintien des personnes inculpées dans son gouvernement. Que des enquêtes soient menées pour savoir pourquoi l'état-major de l'armée guinéenne n'est pas intervenu pour mettre fin aux exactions contre les populations civiles. Aussi bien, il est regrettable de noter que si le coup d'État du 5 septembre 2021 n'avait pas eu lieu, ce procès aurait connu un plus grand délai, et cela malgré le fait que la Guinée ait été gouvernée par un régime civil doté d'une assemblée nationale comprenant un nombre respectable de membres des partis politiques et de l'opposition. Le président de ce régime civil a érigé toutes sortes d'obstacles pour empêcher que le procès ait lieu. À leur tour, les partis politiques de l'opposition n'ont pas levé le petit doigt pour faire pression sur le gouvernement pour qu'il cesse de faire obstacle à la procédure judiciaire. Il faut donc reconnaître la justice, la junte du CNRD d'avoir permis que ce procès se tienne sans y mettre des obstacles. Au niveau de la CPI, il a fallu l'arrivée du nouveau procureur Imran Khan, Karim Khan, en remplacement de Fatou Bensouda pour que la procédure judiciaire procède avec sens d'urgence. Nous espérons que la junte militaire au pouvoir tirera les leçons de ces drames et le verdict du procès pour éviter à la Guinée la répétition de ces événements tragiques qui ont ensanglanti le pays depuis l'avènement de son indépendance. Il est opportun de conclure cette déclaration en citant Dr Somadjou, président de l'OGDAS, qui aimait dire que le Guinéen n'est pas un citoyen ou un sujet du pays, mais qu'il est objet de l'État dont il peut user comme bon lui semble. La Commission centrale de Potalfi Bantal Fouta Djallon, la Cour pénale internationale, pour avoir qualifié ces crimes de crimes contre l'humanité.
Voilà, merci Malado.